Welcome to the
New York City.
Pinstripe Territory.
Just when they thought I was out, they pull me back in.
All right, how's it going, everybody? Welcome back. Today is Monday, September 16th, and the Yankees are waking up, probably in Seattle, in first place by 3 games with just 12 games to go. And if you had told me that before the season, I would have signed up for it. Because the Orioles entered this season far and away as the favorite. They won 100-plus games last year. They've got all this young talent. They've been kind of hampered by injuries over the last few months. And the Yankees right now are relatively healthy. They've got basically their healthiest roster all season as we head into the postseason. And that cannot be understated. Justin Torres says, go Yankees. So don't get too confident, though, because, this thing can still go haywire. We've seen teams flush leads of a few games in the final couple of weeks before. But there's a lot of good things to talk about this morning as we mix in your voicemails. First of all, Aaron Judge heating back up. He had 2 home runs this weekend. He had the big grand slam to put the Yankees ahead the other night. We've seen him be clutch in the regular season before. The year he had 62 home runs back in 2022, he also hit 3 walk-off home runs that season. But he's never really gone on a crazy tear in the postseason before. And that's what we're hoping for this year. That's what we're paying him for. That's why he gets the big bucks. Part of it's to get us to the playoffs, but we really need him to show up in the postseason this year, and I think he will. I think he's got a chip on his shoulder. I think he knows this could be the only season with Juan Soto hitting in front of him, getting on base, and he's going to drive him in. And he's done a nice job driving in Juan Soto all year long, over 130 RBIs now. We got some other guys getting hot too. Austin Wells seems like the real deal. He has come into his own in the second half, and he has been dangerous. And I don't know about you guys, but I can just envision him hitting one of those majestic home runs into the right field bleachers during a big playoff game. And he's been throwing guys out, looking good behind the plate. We've got Juan Soto ready to break out. He hit some balls hard yesterday. He just missed a home run. I thought he just got a little bit under it, went 349 feet. I looked it up. But he also ripped a line drive that was 114 miles an hour, basically. And he's been clutch all season. And he's been clutch for his entire Yankees career, or his entire baseball career. Going back to that World Series where he took Justin Verlander deep as a teenager. I would expect him to go off this offseason or this postseason and make that contract number a little bit higher. Gleyber Torres has been terrific in the leadoff spot. He just looks more comfortable. We know he doesn't chase very much. He doesn't chase out of the zone all that much. And so having him in the leadoff spot in front of Judge and Soto, he's getting more pitches to hit. And he's been doing some damage, not just with the power, but, hitting line drives, taking the ball to right field. I wish Volpe would do that a little bit more. By the way, we put out a video last night breaking down Volpe's swing. And it's evident to me that his hips, his front left hip, is opening up just too early. He's trying to pull everything, and that throws off the second half of his swing. So, hopefully he can get that squared away. But what excites me most as we head into the final stretch here, and ultimately the playoffs, if we can keep everybody healthy, is how good the pitching looks. We've got Clark Schmidt throwing the absolute piss out of the baseball. He's got ace-level stuff for 5 innings every single time. I mean, swings and misses, ground balls, throwing strikes, pitching with confidence. Can't you see him coming up big in a playoff game? I can. I get that feeling about Clark Schmidt. He's got the right kind of attitude. We've had great pitching from the bullpen. This from Jacob K. on X. Luke Weaver, Tommy Kahnle, Jake Cousins, Tim Hill. Since August 16th, they have a 1.35 ERA, 53 in the third innings, 8 earned runs, 56 strikeouts, 0.94 whip, 0.145 batting average, 252 on base percentage, and a 453 OPS. So he pointed out the Yankees bullpen is getting set. Tony Mateo says, keep Gleyber Torres. Finally, a decent leadoff man. I don't think they're going to bring back Gleyber Torres. His numbers are going to be too expensive. I mean, he's going to want $15, $18, $20 million. I don't think he's worth that, even on a one-year deal, because of the detriment that he brings to the team defensively. Also, you've got to allocate some money to Juan Soto this winter. You've got to do it. It's going to be a lot. It's going to be $50, $60 million. He's going to get $500 million, probably $550, maybe $570. And you're going to be in a bidding war with the crosstown Mets, who are going to the postseason with a very young team. So I just can't see them bringing back Gleyber Torres. Anyway, let's take a few voicemails here.
What's going on, Derek? Good little win today. 3 games up, 12 to go. Man, I like it. Hopefully, we can get that to be 4 by the time we play Baltimore.
Very nice.
Just curious to what you thought here about the playoff roster. Do you think Trent Grisham's going to have a spot on this roster, or do you think that spot would be better filled by somebody like a Duke Ellis? Someone that can come off the bench, run the bases, and figure things out that way. I mean, we got also Oswaldo and Dominguez that'll both be able to fill into the outfield spots if need be. So Trent Grisham's kind of obsolete at this point. I was just curious what you thought about that. All right, man.
I don't think Trent Grisham is going to be on the playoff roster. Now that you got John Birdie back, and it's worth noting that he played some outfield in the minor leagues as he was rehabbing, he gives you that speed off the bench. Now, in terms of the outfield, you've got 4 legitimate guys. You got Soto, Judge, Verdugo, and Dominguez that can all play the outfield. I don't think there's room for another guy. That's why they're giving Birdie, who's really an infielder, some reps out there so that in an emergency, he can go in and play the outfield. Now, he's got a ton of speed. I think his primary use will be as a pinch runner, but Oswaldo Cabrera can also play the outfield. And I just don't see a spot for Trent Grisham. I think he's done a serviceable job as a backup outfielder. He's had some big hits this year, too. He hasn't hit for a ton of production, but he's made his production count. A lot of his home runs and stuff have been in big spots. But I can't see Trent Grisham being on the postseason roster.
Yeah, Derek, Robert. All right, we got the big comeback win today after that disaster yesterday with Cole. I still can't believe that actually happened. It was almost like a nightmare. But yeah, and Judge is starting to look like himself now. Finally hit a home run that didn't just squeak over the fence like most of his homers have been doing, even before the 16-game slump. Yeah, so he's finally got a 450-footer. When he starts hitting them like that, you know he's back. That's the key. And like you said, going to Seattle now, where he usually thrives, I mean, I expect at least 2 or 3 home runs, if not 4 or 5 in those 3 games.
I agree with you. I think he's going to go crazy. I think he's going to go nuts in Seattle if they pitch to him. Now, Seattle does have some really good pitching, and I'm not going to kill Judge over the distance of his home runs. As long as it goes over the fence, it counts, baby. Doesn't matter if it goes 450 or, 405, or 385. If it goes over the fence, it counts. And he's learned to use the right field porch, where if he just puts the ball in the air, just elevates it a little bit, he's so strong that a routine pop fly to right field at Yankee Stadium for Aaron Judge is 3 or 4 rows deep. And that's how he's able to hit 60 home runs. He probably gets 10 home runs a year that are, opposite field shots that, they're gone in some ballparks, but Yankee Stadium, they're definitely gone. So, OG Giku says, good morning, my pinstripe peoples. Good morning. How are you? Lester Jr. from Belgium says, is it too late for some of our youngsters like Rice or Vivas to come back and try out for the postseason? I think so. I think the Yankees are selecting from the guys they've got right now, trying to build their playoff roster, trying to put the best team together. And I think what you saw against Boston this weekend is pretty much what it's going to be. I think you're going to see Dominguez in left. And I get he's off to kind of a slow start, but he's had some really good at-bats. He's stolen some bases. He brings other elements that Verdugo doesn't. And I think once he gets going with, the bat, once he starts mashing, which he will do over the next several days, I think that will propel him into the starting left field spot as the Yankees approach the postseason. And in terms of Ben Rice, I mean, he had a shot. He came up and he played really well out of the gate, but he was hitting about 180 when he got sent down. So I think the thing for Ben Rice, probably play some winter ball, focus on first base, getting better defensively, and continue to round that swing into form. Look at the tape, figure out what your, hot zones are and what your cold zones are and how major league pitchers are attacking you, and do your best to adjust so that you can handle that next year. I want to see Volpe get hot as we approach the playoffs. We did a breakdown of his swing yesterday. I'll go ahead and put it up on your screen so that we can take a look at it. But let me just make this make this bigger. I'm going to mute it. But you see that he basically, his front hip opens way too early. Watch this. See right there. His hip is opening way too early. If he can get back into just staying on the ball and driving it to right field like he did on the right. Watch this follow through on the right. See how he's followed through perfect? That's a very Derek Jeter type swing. And on the left, he's bailing and wailing. If he gets away from that, I think he'll be okay. We got to get him going. We got a couple more voicemails. First, a real quick word from the sponsors over at Foul Territory. Today's sponsor is Huel. So let's take a quick look at their ad, and then I'll be back with a couple of more voicemails.
We get it. Mornings are nuts. No time for breakfast, but you need to get your day started right.
What if a delicious, nutritious meal could be ready in seconds? Support for Foul Territory is brought to you by Huel, the world's #1 complete nutrition brand. With over 400 million meals sold worldwide, Huel is trusted by millions of people looking to fuel their days with convenient, complete nutrition. Try it for yourself with this exclusive FT offer. 15% off with the code FOUL at Huel.com.
You know we're all about saving time, but we get hangry, like a lot. I recently fell in love with the Huel Ultimate Super Greens Powder, which is a perfect blend of 91 vitamins, minerals, and whole food sourced ingredients. I also love their complete nutrition bars, and those hot and savory pouches are fire too.
FT fam, give it a shot. Get 15% off with the code FOUL at HUEL.com. Unlock a healthier, easier way to eat with Huel. Nutritionally complete meals in minutes so you can focus on what really matters.
All right, so check them out, obviously. Let's get a couple of more voicemails.
You know what? I still can't get over this whole Garrett Cole thing. Like, if you watch, like, the interviews from, like, Aaron Boone, he's, like, trying to defend Cole. Cole is trying to say, oh, we planned this, it was our plan to walk him, da-da-da-da-da. And then they interviewed Austin Wells, and Austin Wells has no idea what they did. He's like, oh, I didn't know. Like, they could have just said, oh, it was Cole, and, bad mistake. But, oh well.
Appreciate the call. That's something that we've seen in the Aaron Boone era, and I'm putting this one flatly on Aaron Boone. Miscommunications, right? Miscommunications. There's a new podcast with Sheffield and I forget somebody else where they talked about, the communications within the organization. I thought that podcast, I didn't watch the whole thing, but I thought it was right on We've had issues throughout Boone's tenure, whether it was Bader not knowing he was hitting leadoff, Severino not knowing what time to get to the bullpen. We've had some stuff with Clay Holmes. This is just another example. I think the communication needs to be better between the manager and his players, whether it's your ace, Gerrit Cole, or whether it's the last man on the bench. The manager sets the tone for communications, and everybody's got to be on the same page. So, as Jared Williams says, the plan backfired. So, I've got another voicemail here. This one is from the save situation. He calls in all the time. It came in before yesterday's game, but I wanted to play it because it's still relevant. And it's about his journey to the Bronx with his kids on a day where the Yankees didn't put in a lot of effort on Saturday. So I'm going to go ahead and play this, and then we'll talk a little bit about it.
Hey, Derek, it's a save situation. So, yesterday I went to the game. My wife, 2 kids, drove all the way down to New York from South Jersey. That's a 2 and some hour ride. Between tolls, meals, tickets, very stressful driving to Yankee Stadium. I'm a little older guy, so if you guys want to make fun of me, that's fine. But here's the thing, man. And waiting that line, getting in the stadium in the beating hot weather. I mean, I felt really bad for some of the kids. I mean, I understand it's the Yankees-Red Sox game, but man, I have never seen I spent like $600 total. What a non-competitive game. And
sorry, I just realized I was muted. The effort that the Yankees put in on Saturday was not sufficient. Joe DiMaggio once said that he went all out every single day because he never knew who might be watching him for the first time. Might be some kid in the stands who'd never seen him play before. He didn't want to give that kid the impression that he was dogging it, that he wasn't giving 100%. So basically, the Yankees got to give 100% every single time. It doesn't, I mean, there are franchises where you can get away with that and the fans won't hold you to account. But when you're spending $600 to go to a game and bring kids and the prices that you pay for concessions, for parking, for crossing the bridge, I mean, you owe it to the fans to give 100% every day. And that includes Gerrit Cole. I've said in the past, just don't pitch to Devers. Just don't pitch to Devers. And I stand by that in certain situations where you're trying to win the game. Let's say it's the 8th inning and you got a 1-0 lead. Sure, pitch around Devers there. But you got a no-hitter going, right? You're just starting to get the crowd excited after, basically 10 outs in a row. And you walk Devers, and that kind of deflated the whole team, kind of deflated the whole stadium. So the point I'm trying to make is top-notch effort every single time, every single game, because the fans deserve it. So, sorry we had a little bit of a muted issue there for a second. I cut my audio while the voicemail was playing because I didn't want to have an echo. But anyway, thanks for tuning in, everybody. Yankees will head to Seattle. They're actually probably in Seattle right now. And we got a 3-game set, and then they play Oakland. Final series ever in the Oakland Coliseum, which is a dump, but a lot of good memories there. I see the cat walk by. So tune in for all the post games this week. We're going to do another voicemail show on Wednesday. So call in 718-899-1068, and we'll see you then.
If you enjoyed this video, please drop a like and give us a subscribe. It helps other Yankees fans find the channel. We're also on all your favorite podcast platforms and social media. Join the community, have some fun. We're here after every game. This is Pinstripe Territory.